You're listening to Women's Dream Enlightenment, dream decoding, deep discussions, and spiritual stories of self-discovery to inspire your personal enlightened journey. I'm your host, Megan Mary, founder of Women's Dream Analysis. Let's bring in the light. Welcome. Today we have Dawn Livingstone. She is an experienced Ascension coach, author, energy healer, and the proud owner of Voyage of Transcendence LLC. With 25 years of energy work experience, Dawn's passion lies in transforming individuals' life perspectives and fostering expansion and growth. She also hosts the Transcend and Succeed podcast and TV show, inspiring and uplifting her audience with guests sharing their life experience of transcending their limitations and turning their lives around. Welcome, Dawn.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. I love that introduction and the work that you do, and I can't wait for this discussion. So first, I want to ask you the question I ask everyone, which is, what does enlightenment mean to you?
To me, enlightenment is about a sudden incident or experience that has abruptly changed your awareness, your perception, I suppose your consciousness as well, and also behavior. Yeah, it's about suddenly becoming aware of something that's not right in your life so that you can actually move forward, take action to move forward and actually correct it. So that's what enlightenment means to me.
Yes, excellent explanation. And I believe you have a story to tell the listeners today about your abrupt experience that led you to your
Yes,
spiritual awakenings.
it was. Yeah, very abrupt it was. It was really about 25, maybe just a little bit less than that. I had been, I suppose, abused in all kinds of different ways, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, a bit of physical abuse as well. I was bullied from school all the way up to college, and my abrupt awakening actually told me that I hadn't been in control of my life probably ever. And I was unwittingly handing over my sovereignty, my power to anyone who would take it and anyone that I could give it to. I suppose a long story short, in my previous marriage, I'd been very unhappy for a while, but couldn't quite put my finger on it at all. And you know how the universe can throw you little nudges, and if you don't take care of them and pay attention to them and look at them, then they'll give you some bigger nudges to take care of until it gets your attention. Well, I had been getting all these, I mean, this is hindsight talking here, but I had been getting all these different nudges and hadn't paid any attention to them for many, many years until the final blow came where I used to take my kids to a karate class, and one night I got thrown very badly and I landed really heavily on my right hip, just banged down on the floor, ended up that I had broken the bottom disc in my back and the contents were squeezing out and causing me sciatic pain. I couldn't work or anything at all for about 4 months. And after 4 months, my sick pay had ended and I had to go back to work. And the HR department had called me and said, right, okay, before you come back to work, you need to come in and see our counsellor. She wants to make sure you're fit to come back to work and see if we can make any accommodations for you. So I went in, had this appointment, and the first question the counsellor asked me was, so how are things at home? And that was like, my invitation to just verbally dump on this poor woman who sat for about 20 minutes through my snot and tears and my major rant about how my husband treated me, how he was making me feel, the things he said, the things he did, the things he accused me of. And she just let me rant. And once I started to calm down, because that was like a real emotional release for me, something that I hadn't done. So she said to me, "So how long have you been getting abused?" And I said to her, "So no, he's never lifted a finger to me, and I seriously didn't believe he would have ever." And she says, "No," she says, I don't mean just physical abuse. Your perception of abuse is just physical. She says, "You've been mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and verbally abused from what you've been telling me." And that was my light bulb moment. And then the anger came, the anger towards my husband at the time for treating me that way. But then the anger came up about myself. I was angry towards myself because the sudden realization for me was that I had only been abused because I was allowing it. I did not have the understanding of what was going on to actually create enough self-respect for myself to actually stand up and say, "You can't speak to me like that," and actually stand up for myself. I hadn't been able to do that ever. So that was a massive, massive turning point in my life. So that was when my awareness came into play, which massively shifted my perception. Yeah, I suppose it made me a lot more consciously aware and allowed me to change my behavior to get myself back in alignment with where I should be and to encompass my self-respect and myself and try and get my life back. So after that, my life has totally changed. I mean, we obviously split up and divorced, and I've now, well, both of us actually have remarried, and I am just super happy. But I didn't realize that I had been attracting people that had the abuse vibration. And what I was sending out to them was, "Come and abuse me. I'll let you abuse me. You can shout at me, you can accuse me of whatever, but I'm going to take it from you." And that's the vibration I was putting out into the universe. Because I understand now, after a lot of deep research, that whatever you vibrate at your core out into the universe will answer your prayer, if you like, and it'll give you back exactly what you vibrate because that's what it thinks you want. So instead of feeling that I was a victim of life and that life was happening to me instead of because of me, now I understand that to get a better life and to increase my happiness or my joy, whatever it is, I have to make changes to myself and not look outside of myself to the material world. My outer world is a reflection of my inner world. And that's what I have understood over this last 10, 15 years and been working hard to change. And I've seen such a change in my life, a positive change in my life.
That's an incredible story. The emphasis on the inner world is so, so important. In
Mhm.
this 3D reality, we get so trapped up in the outer world and the
Yeah.
outer appearances and perceptions that we feel other people have, expectations that we put on ourselves, all these other things. And we don't realize that change comes from within. And so does beauty and philosophy and all those other
Yeah.
things, self love, that it starts at what you said was exactly right, the core. Because many
Mhm.
times we think, oh, well, I'm changing my mindset. I'm thinking positively. I'm trying to turn my life around. But if you're resonating that vibration at a very, very subconscious, I'm going to say, level, because that
Yeah.
core level, I don't even know if that really qualifies as the conscious level. That's where that vibration out into the universe comes from, I believe. And so you have to address the subconscious to
Yeah.
change that vibration. I don't know if you can change it consciously. It's a conscious decision to change it, but it takes
Yes.
that addressing and that integration of the subconscious.
Well, self-love, to be honest, was actually something that I did not have. I had no self-confidence, no self-esteem, no self-worth, nothing like that. And I didn't realize, and this is another big thing that I've learned over the last 15 years, if you don't love yourself, yeah, and I'm talking unconditionally, if you don't love yourself unconditionally, it's very, very hard for you to give and receive love from others. Very, very difficult. I have now become aware of my thoughts, my words, my actions towards myself, because that is a major step forward. That was a big realization for me as well. You've got to have that self-respect. And we were talking just a minute ago about we're looking outside for the fixes. Nobody's going to ride in on a white horse and whisk you off and fix you. Once you realize that you're the only one that can change your life if you're unhappy, once you understand that you are, I suppose, the craftsman of your reality, and that reality is a reflection of yourself, then that should really give you a big boost to actually make those changes. And we, Megan, in such a material world, I mean, that's always what was pushed on me as a child from TV, from friends. Oh, they want to have a big house, they want to have this top of the range car, they want to have this big job, they want to go on holidays. We're all pushed for creating so much money or making so much money to have these material things that make us so happy in life. But I've found that as I have gotten older and wiser, I would like to think, the material world doesn't matter to me in the slightest. Material things have no interest to me because, yeah, some things can make you happy for a little bit of time, but they won't really fulfill you. They won't satiate that inner desire that you have for fulfillment and for joy and for happiness and for love. They're only there as kind of a pacifier, I would probably regard them as. So it's inside that we've got to do the work. It's not to look outside for the happiness because that is not where it is.
Yes, and talk a little bit about the inner work that you experienced, that you went through. I know you've mentioned that you've had a, a lot of different spiritual experiences, from out of body experiences to dream
Mm,
experiences. And for me, the dream world is the place where that transformation can take place. It's the treasure trove of the wisdom that we can tap for ourselves that allows us to recognize what is holding us back, the things that we're carrying with us, the presumptions and judgments that we have upon ourselves, and the limitations that we're putting upon ourselves, and also the possibilities of what we can become, our higher self actualization, and the spiritual nature of our being that allows us to then detach a bit and loosen our grip on those material things and those material expectations of the 3D world. Because once we attain a sense of that connectedness and that
yeah.
greater presence and ability, then we realize that we don't have to cling so much to that, that we don't have to place so much
Yes.
value on that.
Mhm. Well, we're physical beings having an experience, but we are first and foremost, I suppose, multidimensional light beings, energy beings. I have had quite a few experiences that over the last year and a half have really become, or they've helped my awareness no end, let's put it that way. I have a dream book that's probably about this thick. From the last 5 years of my previous marriage, I was having such vivid dreams, lucid dreams, and I was able to recall just about all of it when I woke up, and I would be scribing for ages in the morning after waking up. And a lot of it was chaotic. It didn't make sense, it didn't run together like you would think a movie would, you know, and it was all bitty. And I understand it's symbolic, it's generated by our subconscious now. But that was a reflection of my subconscious at the time because my mind was in complete chaos because I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand what I was feeling and what I was going through. I will tell you this, I had dreams every single day for that 5 year period. And the evening that I told my husband that I wanted a divorce, they stopped completely. Absolutely stopped completely. And I didn't have any more for absolute years. And it was the understanding then and the knowledge and the inner knowing that they only stopped because I had actually started to pay attention to these nudges, and that's what the subconscious was giving me. But I think more recently, over this last kind of maybe 2.5 years, I found William Buhlman as, I've got a couple of his books. I suppose he researches out of body experiences. And I read two of his books, and that opened a big can of worms for me, let's call it that. Because I then realized from some of my experiences, based on his experiences, I now understand that they weren't just dreams. They were actual out of body experiences that I was going through. And that just blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind, because that was my realization at the time that we are so much bigger than this human flesh suit that we are borrowing this time round. We are so, so much bigger than that. And I asked questions about show me the structure of the universe, and I was getting images and pictures in varying different increments until I understood what I was being given. And then once I understood what I would get more information to give me more detailed knowledge and understanding. So it kind of went from a two-dimensional thing to a three-dimensional thing to, how would I describe, more within a three-dimensional thing. But it's been absolutely amazing, the journey I've had the last couple of years. I can now explain to other people that there is so much out there and we have got absolutely nothing to fear, because once the shell that we are wearing right now, once that dies, we don't. We just carry on and we can go into so much more things. We can go anywhere we want. We can do anything that we like, but it's so, so much bigger than we think. We've got this three-dimensional, really low density experience that we have to have. It's a school, it's a college, it's a place where we have come to learn certain things. And once we learn those things, then we're free to move on and do whatever it is, expand and grow. And that's the only way we can expand and grow our consciousness, is to actually get ourselves out our comfort zone and do things that are making us uncomfortable. That's what another thing I've discovered. If you want to grow and expand in any way, shape, or form, you have to do things that are uncomfortable because it's new, it's unfamiliar, and the more familiarity that we have is actually keeping us stuck. It's not going to allow us to move forward. And what we're doing, I realise that we have been creating everything from our past experiences instead of thinking about moving forward without any fear. Because we've all got so much fear right now. We either live in our past, so we're either regretful of our past and we're living in fear of the future, right? And we forget, because we're living so much in regret for the past or fear for the future, we're forgetting that we can only be in the present moment. We're forgetting about just being. And now, this present moment is the only place that we can create. Yeah, the past is in the past, but it's familiar to the subconscious. Yeah, and that just keeps you stuck there and doesn't want you to move forward. So if we've constantly got worry or fear of the future, that's what we're going to create. We're going to create more worrisome incidents and more fearful things in our lives, if that's the thing we're focusing on, because where your focus goes, your energy flows, right?
Yes, you said so many things there that I want to comment on. I love the idea of the present being a present, right? And
Yes.
embracing it, because you're right. You're either stressed about the future or depressed about the past. And when you're dwelling on those things, you're putting your energy towards those things, and then you're depriving the current place that you're really existing in of that energy. But also, I liked what you said about familiarity and the fact that we become so used to what we think we know, our presumptions about the way the world works, our presumptions about the universe, that there's comfort in that presumption. And once we allow ourselves to destabilize that, fear comes in because it's destabilizing to say there's so much more to us, or there's so much more we could be doing or should be doing, or that our perception of the universe and our place in it is
Just talk
illusion. Yeah.
quickly a little bit about fear. There's no such thing as fear other than that which we create. Fear isn't something that we are born with. It's something that we're taught. It's something that we learn. And whatever we learn, we can unlearn. And that's another big thing that I've learned lately. It's all what we've been doing all our life is living by other people's rules and opinions. Yeah, and ones we're not allowing ourselves to think for ourselves. In fact, it's not think. We're not allowing ourselves to feel. What we feel is right, what our intuition, what our gut feel tells us is the right way to go. We've not been doing that because we've not been made aware that we can all our life. So once we understand that we can move forward with ease, without fear, if we just allow the feelings in our body to guide us and to tell us what's the best way to go. And if we can understand that it's perfectly fine for us to move forward and be who we are. And I'm just not talking about what other people's perceptions of us are, because that's the type of person we try to create for ourselves. I know I did, based on what other people said you should do in life, which career path you should take, how you should behave in school, this type of thing, without allowing us to develop it naturally. And that's been a big discovery for me also. But the more authentic you can be about yourself and to others, the easier you'll be able to just flow through life without the fear of speaking up and being seen and being heard. Because that was one of the things that I had such a big fear of speaking my truth because I was ridiculed, and I was made fun of at school. I was poked, I was bullied, and they used to gather around me at the end of the school day and slap my face, take turns slapping my face. And it was just so humiliating. But once you can understand that they were in such a bad place as well, and move forward with forgiveness and kindness, things will actually start to take off for you. It's a big thing, forgiveness.
Yes, it's amazing how cruel children can be. And
Oh, yes,
I
very.
was also bullied as a child. And so
Yeah.
I understand how that can really shut you down inside to
Mhm.
some extent and lays the foundation for your self perception
Yes.
and teaches you to be careful. It's really a state of avoidance, right? To avoid that conflict or being
Yeah.
called out or being criticized. And
Mhm.
it's something that prevents us at this stage in our lives from really spreading the messages that we have to bring to the world, the reason that we're here, the knowledge that we're supposed to be teaching to others that we've gained. We have to overcome all of that in order to do that. And it's not an easy task being visible, being vocal, standing in your truth, speaking your experience. It's all not as easy as it sounds.
It's not. And everything you just said there, that is all the fears that I created based on my experiences of the past.
Mm.
And now I understand that they're in the past. There isn't anything I can do to change it, but I don't have to drag them with me every single day. And that's what I've chosen to do. Over the last 10 years or so, I have been going within and I have been actually dissolving with the work that I do, dissolving these vibrations from my cells and from my subconscious mind that have been holding me back, that are actually generating these experiences that are harming me emotionally. And I don't have any fear of it now. I am now at the stage where I know and I understand that there's not a one size fits all. Not everybody's going to like everybody. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Because if we all liked the same thing, it would be a very boring world. But not everybody's going to like the same thing. And I am absolutely fine with that. But if I can just get through to one person, then I would accept that as a job well done. And I understand that if people are going to be unkind about something, that's okay. I'll just absolutely leave it alone. But I honestly feel that if people don't like you, they can keep scrolling. And because I have changed my vibration so that I don't attract these people and I will attract the people that I can help. I truly believe that.
Yes, I truly believe that too. It's the law of attraction, right?
It
It's
is indeed,
the
yeah.
energy that you're putting out, the vibration that you're putting out. It's why people say I like her vibe, or they use different terminologies, and it's really just that you're on that same vibration. So talk a little bit about the work that you do both as an energy healer and as an ascension coach.
Sure, I intuitively work in locating areas in the body that are storing negative emotions and also clearing belief systems. So the liver usually stores a lot of anger and hatred in there. Sometimes I find it in different areas in the body. Everybody's different. But once you dissolve certain emotions, the feelings in the body are so much lighter and you don't attract that anger in your life. So if we're removing anger, because anger will attract anger, love will attract love. So I usually talk to clients for a little bit about their childhood experiences to get to the root cause of anything that could be in their way from this lifetime, from this incarnation. And I also address their ancestral line because they don't have the understanding that we bring forward all the vibrations in our DNA of all our ancestors. And in 9 generations, you are affiliated with over 2,000 people. So it's no wonder we're all in quite a mess because we're carrying everybody's burdens forward and we need to let them go. We need to dissolve them and sever any link to them. So that's the way I work. And I use the energy healing to dissolve it.
That's wonderful. It's so true. It's so much more than us, right? Which is an echo of what we were saying before, but generationally, it's in our DNA as well as energetically. And there's so many things we might not even be aware of that we're carrying with us that aren't just from our childhood, but could be from our
Yeah.
parents'
And
childhood, our grandparents'
people
childhood.
think, yes, and people think that, these physical issues that they have, they're only physical, where I try to explain to them that every imbalance, mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual, manifests itself physically. It's like your doorbell, it's the universe, it's your inner child trying to get your attention to say there's something in here that I'm not quite liking, you need to pay attention to it. And once they understand that the work that I do can actually get to the root cause, which is probably not physical. Sometimes it is, yeah, due to toxicity, etc. But the vast majority of the time, it's mental and emotional, and it's from the ancestral line. Some of it is from a trauma, from childhood trauma, sometimes not in this lifetime, but quite often, yes. So, yeah, any kind of trauma or fear that comes up, I can address with them. And because it gets to the root cause, the symptoms automatically disappear. So this has been my mission, is to try and explain to people that I want to reach people that believe there must be some other way of healing rather than doctors and meds. Because the meds, as I explained to them, is just putting a band-aid on the problem. It's masking the symptom. It's not getting to the root cause. The work that I do gets to that root cause and then the symptoms disappear.
Yes, I'm a firm believer of addressing spirit and mind along with body healing. And that's what led me to do the dream work in the first place, because I was experiencing this conglomeration of physical ailments and illnesses and realized that the doctors themselves weren't just going to be able to help me, that I had to start to do the inner work I had to start addressing what else energetically was causing those situations in my body, particularly in my case of autoimmune, where your body's attacking itself essentially, and where that is stemming from. And it's probably not a coincidence that autoimmune affects women more than men. So for me, it was very much part of my healing journey, realizing the healing opportunity that dream work held for me, because that's the source really of all of the wisdom that you need. And once you attain that wisdom, then you're able to do the energy work to transmute it and to reincorporate it or send it back or whatever you need to do to then dissolve that dream, dissolve that energy from your life, essentially. So I think we're on the same page there, definitely.
We are indeed, absolutely.
So, talk a little bit about Ascension Coach. I love that title. I love the concept of the vibrational and ascension through the dimensions. So, speak a little bit more about that.
Well, the Ascension Coach was just an invented title. I just thought it sounded cool,
It does.
really. But it's a title really to try and explain that I'm helping people to ascend or transcend, hence the voyage of transcendence. So you want to take this journey of transcendence in your life to transcend the baggage that you've been dragging around with you for all these years, to sever the karma, sever any contracts that you have that are holding you back, sever the links to all these traumatic memories that you're carrying around, that every time you recall this traumatic memory, it recreates that emotion in the body, which then reaffirms it and re-anchors it into your body. And of course, it sends it out every day, 24/7, and more of that is what you're going to get. So it can help sever the link. So that's really what the Ascension Coach is, to ascend through all the different vibrations and transcend pain, suffering, any kind of pain or suffering, anything that is not going well for you in your life. So that's really the Ascension Coach side.
What's the most common misconception people have about what you do?
Oh, that was common. Most common. I would say that it's woo-woo and that it's crazy and it's not in alignment with God. I think I get, oh, I can't do anything like that. It's not accepted in the church. I think people don't understand that we are individually able to talk to God or Creator, however you want to talk about it, and that it's not the right thing to do. They always think it's not the right thing to do, that it's witchcraft in some way. But I would completely turn that around and say that that is everyone's innate ability if we would just allow it to come through. If we could change our perceptions, change our awareness, change our direction in life, and open our mind to new possibilities, then we could all understand that we all have these gifts. It's just some of us have decided earlier on in life to actually embrace it and not care what other people think. So I think that's the biggest misconception, that it's woo-woo and that I'm crazy, really. Because now I don't really care that people think I'm woo-woo or crazy. I just do what I do because it comes to me naturally, and I am more than happy to do it.
Good for you. I agree. What are three takeaways you hope listeners learn from our talk today?
I think the big one about fear, there's no such thing as fear other than that which we create, because it's something we learn, not something we're born with. So I think if we can embrace that, that's a big step forward. I think also about being aware of your thoughts and your actions towards yourself. That is a major thing, and it was a major breakthrough for me in my healing. You've got to understand that you have to think nice things and say nice things and do nice things for yourself before you can actually start to heal.
Yes, the body believes everything you think.
Oh yeah, well, the subconscious mind is awake, especially when you're born up to about the age 7 or 8. Your subconscious mind is wide open. It's like a sponge. So it's taken in everything that you see, everything that you hear, everything you watch, and then that turns them into beliefs, which then becomes your truth. So that's what you're going to be emanating, these vibrations you're going to be emanating every single day. And that's what's going to create your reality. So especially for those that have young kids, just be aware that they are very, very suggestible, very, very susceptible to anything that they see and hear, and to be mindful of that and actually treat them with kindness and try and limit their access to internet. Or I know it's hard, it's very, very hard because it's absolutely everywhere, it's all around us. But what you digest is not just what you eat, it's what you see, what you hear, what you read, what you watch. And that has a profound impact on children's adult lives.
That's very true. Very sage advice as well. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Dawn. It was a wonderful conversation. And thank you
My
so much
pleasure.
for sharing your story.
Anytime. Thank you for having me, Megan.
Thank you for listening. Did you enjoy this episode? You can now send me a text message and share your experience. Be sure to subscribe to make sure you never miss an episode. Head over to my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button as well to be part of my growing community. Are you ready to take the next step in your spiritual journey? Don't miss out on the new Dream Empowerment programs. Unique opportunities for you to unlock your inner wisdom, discover your authenticity, align with your higher self, and bring abundance into your life. If you'd like your dream or awakening story featured on my show, submit it today. Your dreams have the power to inspire and enlighten other women on their journey. Visit meganmary.com to find out more.